Hello, everybody. Hello, listeners. We're at the, what's it called? Kernowfornia Festival of Cornwall. And I'm bumping into the first person. He's wearing a full John Merrick shirt. He's looking very sexy top to bottom. This is Mark Owen. Hello, Mark. Enjoying your weekend?
Oh, absolutely fabulous, mate.
Maybe you'd like to describe the scene for John Merrick, who's missing out.
Just beautiful people. Most of them we know.
Sun's out, blue sky, only 6 hours drive from York. Can't understand why he's not here. So far, every band we've seen has been amazing.
Yeah.
And also, John, I was just discussing with Mark, we're a bit disappointed that you didn't like The Cure's Disintegration.
Hello. Hello. And welcome to Planet Marzipan, the Fish and Marillion podcast. I'm Mezza, and here's my mate,
Craig Houston.
Hello and welcome to Planet Marzipan. I'm Mezza, I'm here with my good friend.
Hey, Craig.
And we have some guests. We have some guests who were at Kernowfornia, which, as you can tell from the title of the episode, is what we're here to talk about. We welcome back to the podcast Emma Mills.
Hello.
Hi, Emma.
Hi,
And we have 3 first-timers on the podcast. So we welcome Craig Allison.
Good evening all and happy birthday, guys.
Hi, Craig. Thank you for that. We have Leo Trimming.
Hi everybody, I do reviews for the Progressive Aspect and Prog magazine, but I'm just here as a Marillion fan tonight.
Thank you for joining us, Leo. And we have Andy King.
Hello.
Hi, Andy. Now, the fact that you all made it means you've survived the weekend, which is a good place to start, isn't it, really? The Kernowfornia Festival was, as we were speaking last weekend, it was the 26th to the 28th of September 2025 at Looe in Cornwall. So I think from chatting to you before the episode, some of you did just the Friday, some did a bit longer, some did all weekend but can't remember any of it. So we'll cover that in a minute. But we, Emma, yes.
Mind you, John, I'm just going to say, the first thing is I'm absolutely shocked and stunned that nobody was suspiciously murdered at this festival to make a BBC TV series episode of Beyond Paradise, because that's where it's filmed. So I think there'll be some kind of upcoming episode, I would bet, in the forthcoming series where some Marillion fans are going to be found face down in the sand.
Can I say something about that?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm a Devon resident, and we bloody resent that series is set in Devon and filmed in Looe in Cornwall. Apart from the fact it's an appalling piece of TV, but Looe is far better than the TV series, so it's a really nice place to go. So, but yeah, I refuse to watch that program based on the fact that
In principle,
masquerading as Devon. It's not an out. And of course, we always know cream first.
I knew there was this massive debate, and the thing that's bonkers about that TV show is it doesn't have to be either Looe or Cornwall. So why they didn't say it was where they were filming made no sense at all.
yeah, because it's fictional in any case. So you know.
And I do watch it, and it is rubbish, but it's lovely, easy watching.
That's taken a turn I didn't expect already.
Moving on.
One of our friends, Mark Owens, was there, and he did get hold of John Stafford, who was the organizer of Kernowfornia. So at this point, I'm going to ask Trevor Horn here to drop in the interview with John Stafford.
Hold on a second, I'll get me crowbar, double gaffer tape and a bit of glue.
Hello there, Planet Marzipan fans. Okay, I am here with a very special guest, Mr. John Stafford, Haunt the Woods frontman and organizer of the Kernowfornia Festival. There he is. Hello, John.
How are you doing?
Thanks for coming on.
You're welcome.
Just a quick couple of questions. Tell us a little bit about the Kernowfornia Festival.
Yeah, Kernowfornia is a idea I had based on there used to be a festival in Looe that folded and it wasn't managed very well, but we played it and we had such a great time here because I'm from Saltash, which is 25 minutes away, and that's where I've grown up. I was sat on this beach probably a year and 3 months ago, and I thought, oh my God, why is there not a festival here? So I thought, oh, maybe I could put one on.
So how did you become
How did we
the
get into it?
organizer of this? And
Yeah. I guess it's like I just thought it, and then just went and thought, yeah, I'm going to do it. And then I'm lucky playing in my band for a long time.
brave man.
Yeah, or stupid, one of the two.
Yeah.
I'm lucky playing in my band that I've got so many people who are so experienced that I know to help me put it on. I don't know how to build a stage.
And the big question for Planet Marzipan fans:
Yes.
how did Marillion become headliners for Friday night?
Well, by being an amazing band. That's number one, obviously. But number two, like, they've been so good to us, and they've supported Haunt the Woods, my band. We played with them in PZ, and it was like one of the best shows we've ever done. We supported them in Leicester at the Montfort Hall a few years ago, and we're playing with them again at Utrecht weekends in December. So they've been massive supporters of us, because like, we're a band that we've never known where we fit in, and we've been told by so many people, now you guys are a prog rock band, and we're like, we love that, you know. So they've been so good to us. They've welcomed us in, treated us so well. Their team, Lucy and Stephanie, and everyone who's involved, Rich, you know, and the band themselves. So I called Lucy and I asked her, and she said, you know what? Because it's you guys, go on then.
She's good as gold, isn't she?
She is good.
Yeah.
Lucy and the whole crew, the whole band, just wonderful people, and obviously just one of the best bands.
John Stafford, I know you're a busy man.
Hey.
I'm looking forward to seeing you today, and of course
Yeah.
Marillion.
Nice.
Thanks very much, mate.
Yeah, nice
Thanks
to
for your
meet
time.
Nice
Thank
to
you.
meet man. Proper.
Thanks to Mark for getting hold of John and catching a few words with him at the beginning of the festival.
I was stood next to Mark when he did that interview with John.
Yeah.
And he really seized the moment. He's like, I need to do this for Planet Marzipan. He says, but I'm only going to have 2 minutes of his time. I don't want to, he's a busy boy. And he was in the right place at the right time. It was perfect.
It was brilliant. Great of him to do it. It really was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just want to ask you really what your initial thoughts of the site were. So it's obviously a beautiful part of the world, but we'll probably go to Leo first because he's a local. What was your view of the setup of the festival, Leo?
I thought it was good. Apparently that they had a festival there for years, a blues type festival, which sort of died a death, I think, around the time of COVID. So, and I think they had the stage at the other end of the beach. So it's literally on the beach. So it's very tide dependent. So they've already said if they do it next year, they can't do it this time of year because the tides will be different and the sea will be right up.
Yeah.
Literally on the beach. I think the capacity I read somewhere was 7,000. I'm not sure they sold out, but it's pretty well full on the Marillion night.
Yeah.
I mean, it had a good sound. It had plenty of places where you could eat and drink. The one thing they didn't have, and I did point that out to the organisers, nowhere for band merch. He admitted that was a bit of a faux pas. You couldn't buy any band stuff.
But you buy weekend shirts then?
There are weekend shirts. To be fair, I mean, this just a note. This festival was set up by Haunt the Woods, John Stafford and Woods Band. They did it, and obviously their special connection to Marillion, which we'll see in a minute, meant that's why Marillion were there. But anyway, I probably said enough. But I thought it was fine. I'd go again. I only went for the Friday because I live less than an hour away in South Devon.
Yeah. Craig, what did you make of the site?
Yeah, so I live in Plymouth, so it was rude not to go. Initially, I wasn't going to do it because I've seen Marillion at Rambling Man and High Voltage, and I prefer to see them at like a weekend. You get a run at it. But then a mate of mine says, well, your favourite band's on your backyard. I thought, I really need to go and see them. So just to walk down from where we were parked down into Looe, you could see the beach, and instantly you're like, this is going to be really cool.
Yeah.
And it's like as if they do it every year. It looked really professional, just the staff, the fencing, where everything was positioned. You're like, you just knew it was going to be a great day. The thing that we were thinking about was, are the punters going to be here? And slowly as the day went on, it did fill up. But initially it was like quite sparse. But great setup. Food was excellent. And the merch staff were great. But everybody behind the bar, big smile on their face, very welcoming, engaging, and just it was just a great little festival right from the get-go.
Brilliant, brilliant. Andy, what did you make of it?
Yeah, just to add a couple of things. Yeah, so it was busy on the Friday. Marillion had pulled a lot of people in. Yeah, some of my Marillion friends were saying, it's a good job Marillion are here. Otherwise, there'd be no one here, because there was a lot of Marillion t-shirts. There weren't as many people there on the Saturday. The weather wasn't as good. I suspect there weren't as many people there on the Sunday either. So I'm not sure how it's done financially and whether, it'll be sustainable. One little annoyance was that you had to go and get your tickets elsewhere. You couldn't just walk in and get a wristband like you do at a normal venue, and there was a big queue for that, which meant that I didn't get to see Haunt the Woods. I got to see the very last song because I was on a rush, because I was walking the coast path with my brother, and I timed it to get there, ended up spending the time in the queue. And the other thing is, because it's on sand, Emma and I agreed that when you start dancing, you start digging a hole in the ground and start disappearing into the center of the earth. So that's as an interesting experience watching a gig on sand.
Yeah. Okay. Emma, what did you make of the setup of the gig?
I was just about to mention the sand issue. Actually, it was really strange, because at a gig you're so used to how you move around, so you're not dancing, getting anyone's way, and you move your feet, but you couldn't. You kept just 1 minute one foot was higher than the other, and so I was a bit preoccupied with that. But that's just aside, really. The venue was beautiful. So for me, it was Jana and I decided to travel down Thursday night from Gloucester to avoid the traffic.
I know Jana.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
We wanted to avoid the traffic, but ultimately didn't work out that one entire stretch between two junctions was going to be closed. So we arrived about 11:30, midnight, but it was gorgeous because, as I will have told people 100 times, we were a 3-minute walk. Our cottage was a 3-minute walk from the venue.
See your video. You put the video.
I literally went to the toilet in the cottage, literally like coming and going all the time. But the point being that I'd actually been unwell as well, didn't know if I was going to make it, and literally just decided at the last minute I was well enough to go. But it was something about being at the seaside. For your locals, you probably don't get that sense, but for us up in Gloucester, it was really exciting. It didn't actually even matter about the festival at that point. We're by the seaside. And as soon as the morning, the sun was out, it was a beautiful, beautiful setting and a really relaxed feeling because you're by the seaside. And in respect to it being right on the beach and all this talk about the tides, it was interesting because our Stephanie, she said she spent most of the day putting it's like black netting, I don't know what else you'd call it, all across the fencing.
Around the barriers.
The perimeter, yeah.
Yeah. So you could sort of see through, but not really see through. She put all that up. And they did say there was one point, I can't remember if it was Friday or Saturday, when they were getting a bit nervous because the tide did come all the way up to the barrier. We just got away with it, but that's how important this timing is, because I can remember a few people saying, what on earth are we doing? We're going to an outdoor festival on a windy beach at the end of September. It's nearly autumn. What are we thinking? So a lot of people said, why is it now? And they said, well, it needed to be after the tourist season because it's so busy there and it's all absolutely dependent on the tides. But in respect to the venue, I was really impressed. The staff were awesome, all the security staff, quite a lot of police around, which was interesting. Don't know what they expected of us.
They heard you were coming.
They heard the Yorkshire lot were coming, I expect.
Steady.
The weather.
Sorry.
By the way, the weather was fantastic.
It was.
And if it had been 2 weeks earlier, we'd have been completely rained out. It's been biblically wet in the southwest in late August, September. So we were very lucky. Honestly, I couldn't believe how lucky we were.
Agreed.
So Friday and Sunday were absolutely stunning. Sunday, I was genuinely wishing I had my swimming costume. I would have gone for a swim. I was paddling in the sea. It was absolutely beautiful. I had sun cream on. Saturday, completely opposite. It was miserable. And I spent quite a lot of time meeting up with friends in pubs, but people I hadn't seen for years, which was lovely. And when I did finally get to the convention, to the festival, it was beginning to rain. And I just thought, I've been poorly. I can't stay here in the wind and rain, listening to music I don't know. So I actually didn't even see more than half an hour on the Saturday, sadly, which is a real...
Emma, did you say you were poorly at the weekend? Because I don't think you mentioned it all weekend.
Was there an indoor tent where bands were on as well?
Yeah, Fozzie's tent.
Right.
That was local. That was even more local acts.
Was it? Yeah.
It was all right.
I remember reading one of my friends spent most of Saturday in there because of the weather. So
Yeah. I think on Saturday afternoon I saw someone called Extreme Horns in there. So it was just, there was someone there that thought they were Nick Turner, I think, with strange sunglasses on, and there we go.
And our friend Steve Gutteridge, he's saw, I think he saw virtually all the bands, it feels like, and he said that he was really impressed with everyone in the tent. There wasn't anyone that disappointed.
Yeah.
There's a lot of positive feedback about it all.
Steve likes to get his money's worth, doesn't he?
Yes, yeah.
There were some good bands on the Friday. I felt sorry for Le Soir. Probably some of you may have missed that. They were an early band. They came all the way from Holland. They're a great band. Their latest album, Push Back the Horizon, is really worth checking out. They came all the way from Holland and got 20 minutes because of technical problems.
Did they? I mean, they were scheduled to get 45, so that obviously that's the problem. One of the problems with outdoor gigs is changeovers take longer than planned, don't they?
Well, and also, if there wasn't many people there at the beginning, it's a shame for them.
Yeah, it was their technical stuff. Pure Reason Revolution were fantastic. If you don't know them, check them out. If you check out one song, go and look for the Bright Ambassadors of Morning.
I love PRR. I've seen them a lot.
That's the first time I've ever seen them.
Is it?
Yeah, I was in love.
Well, next year's tour, Chloe Alper's back as well, so they're going to be a 5-piece.
That clashes with the IQ weekend.
It does, which I'll be seeing you at, sir. Yes.
But they are playing the Fusion Festival in Starport in March, and if you don't know about the Fusion Festival, go along. It's a brilliant festival.
Did anybody else catch Pure Reason Revolution? Were you?
I've never heard anything by them before, never seen them live, and I was blown away. Really enjoyed that. Yeah.
That's the right answer, Emma.
Yeah. They're paying me. No, they're not.
It's funny though, because looking at the Friday lineup, out of the Friday lineup, I've seen Pure Reason Revolution before a couple of times. I've seen Haunt the Woods, I've seen the Magic Numbers, I've seen Embrace, and Marillion I'm slightly familiar with. But it's odd for an event like that where there's quite not massively known bands, but seen most of them before.
But Willie and the Bandits as well, they're quite well known down in the southwest. And I think they really helped set the tone as well.
Did you see the video of Willie? He actually paddleboarded to the gig. Yeah.
I believed him when he said it, and then actually I saw it the next day, and you're like, no, he actually did paddleboard to the gig.
He filmed himself.
They really won me over. They tour Europe a lot, and they did a largely instrumental song called Angel about his mother. He went on for about 15 minutes. It was brilliant. And he did all this acoustic guitar solo and everything. They really one of those bands you're thinking, oh, who are they? And then by the end, you go, wow, they're good.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
What was good about them as well, I felt, was, he had said, look over there, I live over there, I've paddleboarded to this gig. But you could see how important that was to him and the pleasure it gave him, the joy it gave him to be that local. And that really came through about that sense of it being local was so important to everyone.
Yeah.
Do you think he does that when he goes to Aldi or something? He just gets the paddleboard out and he's back and forwards with his groceries.
Well, you wait till he plays the Hammersmith Odeon.
Well, not to rub it in, Andy, but I'm going to ask how Haunt the Woods were at their own festival. Stunned silence, look.
Oh, right. No, I thought you were asking Andy.
Well, I mean, I can't ask Andy because he's in the queue.
Right. I can tell you what the last song was like.
They were excellent. I mean, they were playing. It's a bit of a hometown crowd because they come from Saltash, just down the road. I've only ever seen them. I saw them at the Marillion 22 thing at Leicester. They were 10 times better than they were there. I quite enjoyed them at Leicester, but I thought maybe they were just on home ground. They were obviously elated because it was going well.
I think they've really improved and become more confident. They went down so well at PZ this year.
They did. In Port Zealand, they played 2 gigs, didn't they? Because they played the Adventure Factory.
And then I saw them this summer with that splinter band from Anathema, whatever they're called. They were supporting them, and they were brilliant in London this year as well. So I was really disappointed. They've improved so much over the last couple of years.
I think I posted somewhere that the future of rock is in good hands because they're a young band. We need bands like that.
Yeah,
they were excellent. I will definitely be checking them out more, particularly as
we're quite lucky again in the southwest. They pop up in some of the local pubs and clubs, so we've seen them really up close and personal. Barbican Theatre in Plymouth, the Junction in Mutley Plain, really small venues, and that's post playing with Marillion at Leicester and what they're doing now. So we try and support them when we can.
I do like them a lot. I just have to. John's singing it's incredible, but will he be able to do that in 20 years' time?
You told me off for saying that.
Certainly fearful how they go up the next level. They're on just at that moment. Hopefully they can get a leg up.
I'm just hoping. I mean, Ubiquity was such a step up from the previous material. That album is so good, and if they can back that up, I think the future's bright for them.
Definitely.
When they played Gold, you could see the crowd just really zone out into that. Gold was amazing.
Yeah, and the line. Yeah.
Sorry, Emma.
That's okay. I was going to say I've only seen them twice. Don't know their music. So the first time was obviously PZ, and I enjoyed them much more in Cornwall than I did at PZ. And I don't know what the difference was. Was it that we were in a festival vibe? The Friday night, the vibe was amazing. Obviously, we turned up. There's 50 different people there that I know well. From different parts of the country, so it was a really good vibe anyway. And we're by the sea, you can hear the waves crashing. Was it that, or was it that they were a lot better? Was it that they're more confident because they're back home? I don't know, but I was spellbound by his voice. It's just phenomenal voice.
It's incredible.
I think they picked the right slot as well, the perfect time in the afternoon.
Time, yeah.
There've been a few bands before, you knew what was coming up. They engineered themselves into the perfect slot.
I think they've been better an hour later myself.
I will be buying their albums. I wish I could have bought them there. I couldn't believe they weren't selling their albums.
But he did.
When I asked you about the setup, nobody's mentioned that you could take chairs in, couldn't you? So it was a fairly relaxed, like family setup, wasn't it?
But I, to be honest, I got centre front and stayed there. I had such a great view of Marillion, one of the best of my whole life, and I've seen them so many times.
Yeah,
but it was great.
The other thing was that. During Haunt the Woods set, he did do a talk about how the event had come about. And that was really interesting because I'd actually totally forgotten that they'd been involved in organising it. And what was really interesting is when he said, I decided one day on the beach, I was going to put on a festival. And I said to someone, how do I do that then? And that was really interesting that he was literally honestly and openly saying, I hadn't got a clue what to do. So the fact that they managed to get to the point they did, I don't know how much back behind the scenes went wrong, but on the whole, it looked very positive.
The nice thing, Emma, was they started their gig by bringing out the crew.
Yes.
Give them the commendation they deserved. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Nice touch. And then following them was Magic Numbers.
Well, that's the one where I was driving, so I could have 1 pint. So I had my pint of cider and just sat there for a while. Okay, this is quite nice jangly pop, but I'll be honest, that was another band. Like halfway through their set, I was actually reading a book. That's how unengaged I was. But I put the book down and went across and listened, and I thought they were quite entertaining. They weren't what I expected at all. So that sometimes you need a rest, but sometimes you make assumptions and get it wrong. And I got it wrong there. They were a good band.
Andy?
Yeah, so I was really impressed with the sound of Magic Numbers. I thought open air festival and it can be windy, you don't always get great sound. Sound was really good. From what you were saying about the other bands, they were running behind time. They didn't start till late, so they had to sort of miss a bit out. I thought they started really strongly and then went into some deeper cuts and it was good, but probably wasn't some of the material that everyone was familiar with. They started off with a couple of tracks that everyone would know.
Yeah.
I think
Greg, anything on them?
Yeah, I think they started off really strong, but they were the band where you're going to go for a piss, go for a pint, get something to eat,
that's what
and sort of bed yourself in for what was coming up. That's how we felt about it. You could still hear them, don't get me wrong, but we had other things to attend to.
They were the band where you would manoeuvre into your Marillion spot, were they?
Yeah. We're going to make a move now, Jen. So
there was a rush after them towards the front, including me.
Yeah. Emma, did you see the Magic Numbers?
I was very busy putting glitter
socializing
and putting glitter on lots of people's faces. I've never touched so many strangers' faces in my life. It was a very surreal moment for me.
I beg to differ, Emma. I've seen you at these gigs.
Okay, we'll move on. It was yeah, we decided we were going to be proper festival goers and wearing glitter. All the men were covered in it. Anyway, yes, I don't remember a huge amount, but I do remember liking them. But it was less memorable than the others, if that makes sense. But I was very impressed. I enjoyed it all, to be honest. But yes, there were a lot. Like I said, to meet up with 50 people, you can't just stand there listening to music as soon as you've seen them. It was like every sort of 10, 15 minutes, somebody else would come up and say hello, which was lovely. But that, you know me well enough, guys, that's what it is for me as much as the music.
Yeah, yeah.
So apologies that I haven't focused on the music much.
No, it's fine. It's fine. We'll move on
I
to...
agree with you. I mean, you're trying to catch up with your people and people are tapping on the shoulder and you're conscious there's a really good song playing. So it's that balance between having a conversation, listen to the music. And I think everybody was trying to do their best. And
Yeah. And ultimately, for me, it was the seaside with meeting up with loads of wonderful friends and seeing Marillion. That's why I was there. The rest of it was a massive bonus.
Okay, well, we'll move on to the other band that Craig really wanted to see that weekend, which was Embrace. Leo, what do you make of Embrace?
I thought they were outstanding. I was a bit of an indie boy in the 90s because many of us forget that prog was the music that dare not say its name in the 90s. You have to used to buy it from under a counter in a brown paper bag. So
I direct from the bands.
Exactly. I used to, or GFT.
Yeah.
Malcolm,
yeah.
Yeah. So I got into indie rock a lot, and I did have that first album. And when they started playing All You Good People, everyone was singing it. It's almost like we didn't know we knew it, but the whole crowd was singing. It was a fantastic opening number. And then they played a deeper cut, One Big Family, from that album, which is a real rocker. And I thought, this band is really blowing us away. It was a really good set. And they were clever, because as I think we mentioned earlier, the singer mentioned that he'd seen the NEC in the early days of H and he really liked them. And the other thing, which was funny, was he mentioned that their drummer had a Marillion shirt on, and the drummer stood up, and it's either a knockoff or a very old script shirt. But as Danny McNamara said, it's a bit nipply, and honestly, they were like organ stops. I've got a picture of it.
The buttons.
But it was clever because it won the Marillion fans over. We liked them because of that. I'm pretty sure that was intentional, and it worked. They're a class act. I was very impressed. Yeah.
Sorry, Andy. Leo's nicked both your stories there.
Not a problem. So no problem. First time I've seen them since 1998. Wow. So I saw them at the Pyramids on that first album tour, which is in Southsea. So great to catch up with them again. I don't know if it will be 27 years before I see them again. But yeah, I thought they were great. They really got the crowd going. And Danny McNamara's got the whole Guy Garvey thumbs up bit, someone's, paying attention or clapping along, give them a thumbs up. So it brings people in. I thought, a really good support and a great set.
Yeah.
Craig?
Yeah, absolutely. Just what Andy just said. Guy was with Jim, who we met at Leicester, Craig, from South Shields. Jim was stood next to me and he tapped me on the shoulder halfway through, said, "I'm really enjoying Embrace." He was there with an open mind. They won him over, and they were the perfect band to set up Marillion, what was coming next. They kept sort of doffing the cap to Marillion. The drummer's vest with a nipple, it was quality. They were the right band for what was coming next.
Yeah,
and they were great. They won me over. Yeah,
I've been rediscovering Embrace since that gig. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's good. Andy, did you want to chip in?
I just remembered that them being from Yorkshire encouraged our Yorkshire friends to give the chant. So
I'm not doing it on here, but yes.
Yeah. And Danny McNamara said, "Are there any other counties out there?"
No is the answer to that. Yes.
Well, I gave him a bit of Dorset, but it doesn't quite work.
It doesn't have the ring to it, does it? No.
Gloucestershire is quite complex to say quickly. Gloucestershire. But they did have the Yorkshire flag up, didn't they? Which is quite funny.
Yeah.
But I think I was standing next to you at this point. Andy, was I? Because whoever it was, I think it was you. And I said, "Oh, Embrace." I think
you were next to me all night, Emma.
Well, this point, I think it was Embrace where I started standing at the front. And I can remember saying Embrace. I'm sure I remember that name from my uni days. And I was at uni 95 to 98. And I said, I think there's one song I know, but I doubt I will do. And if you remember, Andy, it started, and I looked at you and went,
Which song was it? Come back to what you know. What was it?
no, the one that you're talking about, all the
Good people.
And I think you actually realised that you knew more than you. My brother was with us, and he was saying, "No, I don't know Embrace at all. I don't know Embrace." And then started playing us. Oh yeah, I know this song. Oh yeah, I know this song. You know?
the atmosphere. Sorry.
No, they did that one that Coldplay wrote, didn't they? Gravity.
Yeah.
They had 4 hits, and I remember actually they were good. Sorry, Emma, you carry on.
I was just going to say the atmosphere for them was really good. And again, because the crowd was so, especially at the front, so Marillion heavy, everyone's getting really excited. So it just, I think it worked really well. They were right band at the right time, and it really just got the mood going.
Well, that's brilliant, because that all led up to our boys. And Emma, I'm going to let you talk first, because you're getting the raw end of the deal here now. So how was the Marillion set for you?
It was awesome. We had all talked about wondering, of course, what the set list is going to be, and we expected to hear the hits, plural. There was Kaylee. We expected that. You're Gone was in there. That is the one, isn't it, where we all bought the albums and got it in the charts? Yeah. And then, and you might have to correct me, but I'm pretty sure we had Great Escape.
Yes.
They had a great brave medley.
Yeah. And just for me, a really good set list. There's Neverland as well, and it really worked. And I think I said to Andy at one point, I'm really blown away by the sound quality. I don't know if anyone else agrees. Feel free to disagree. But again, I'm thinking British Beach, wind, noise, it's just going to be a bit hard work. And actually, it was really good. And the crowd were quiet. So there had been 2 young lads, clearly not really interested in much of the music, chatting away and effing and blinding next to us for a lot of it. They'd gone, thankfully. And you could have heard a pin drop during some of the really quiet moments, which I didn't expect at a festival where obviously a huge percentage of them wouldn't be Marillion fans. So I think they really, really got the crowd involved and listening properly. Really enjoyed it, even though it was weird on the stand.
There's quite an interesting set list, which I'll read out shortly, but I'm not saying it because I'm sure some of you guys might want to mention it. Andy, what did you make of our boys?
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. It was a festival greatest hits set. It was wall to wall crowd pleasers. Do you want me to comment on some of the things that were said? Yeah. Okay, so they played You're Gone as the opener, which was great, and then Mark Kelly had keyboard problems, and H said, "Oh, it's just like the old days," And so H went into this long story of buying a crab sandwich at the sardine factory, and it was a shaggy story. There wasn't a lot of point to it, but he was just trying to kill time whilst they got the
Emma went there yesterday
keyboard
based on that recommendation, didn't
there we go.
So did a lot of people. We asked in there and they laughed at us because apparently they've done a roaring trade in crab sandwiches because of this. It was a little bit embarrassing, Andy. I can remember you and I looking at each other at one point going, oh, mate, this is going on a bit. And it was not fair on H. He had to fill a slot.
Well, then I think it ended up with him saying, unless I tell this really dirty joke, and Mark Kelly's going, no, it's ready. It's fixed.
Describe that sandwich as the best crab sandwich on God's earth.
That was it, yeah.
It was very nice.
He introduced Kaylee when it was actually Easter, and he dedicated it to all the menopausal women. It's just one of those H comments where you go, okay, it's H,
You could see Rothery shaking his head like.
Yeah, he did.
It was all a bit uncomfortable, actually, wasn't it? He was right. Most of the crowd were menopausal.
Well, the idea, of course, was that anyone of an age who had been born with the name Kaylee, they would now be menopausal. But yeah, he made the usual comment about Man of a Thousand Faces and that no one knows what it's about.
Yeah.
On Crow and Nightingale, he said it should get a Grammy or some kind of award. No beat combos, just going to knock that out.
I agree with him.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I know it's one of your favourites.
Yeah.
Beautiful, he dedicated, ironically, to Donald Trump.
called him inspiring president and so and he didn't mean Ian and Mosley either.
I'd forgotten all of this. Wow, yeah. There was a lot of weird banter, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. And the only other thing was just an observation on Rothers. I don't know what was going on, but he looked in pain. He wasn't walking right, and
He walked off a strange gait, didn't he?
he did. He was like all,
Side.
lopsided. Yeah, like he was had a bad back or in pain, and
dear.
I think Emma observed the fact he didn't seem to be smiling a lot.
Yeah.
Like he does with the Steve Rothery band, but at the end he did. I don't know whether he was just concentrating because it's it's not.
I mean, we when we chatted to him about it, I think the Rothery band, he could just relax into the playing, but there's so much going on at a Marillion gig. They've got to be on it and aware of everything.
And it wasn't an entirely home crowd. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of Marillion there, but he's playing to some newbies as well, so there's a little bit more pressure on him, I guess.
Yeah.
I said, didn't I, that I noticed he wasn't smiling as much as usual. I like to watch them enjoy themselves. I've always been like that, whatever the band, and to watch the crowd enjoy themselves. That's what I take away from it. And it was nothing major. In fact, most people who know the band really well didn't notice. I just had this slight, oh, is he all right? And then Andy and I said, well, he's hobbling. And it might have been nothing. It might even be that they were quite cold because, someone did say the first time I've ever seen H wearing a massive coat, and I've not worried about whether he's going to be too hot.
Well, I saw Stephanie's photos from the stage, and all the front row were in a coat with a hood on, and oh Christ, it looks absolutely freezing at this point.
Did they not have the tartan slippers and tartan blankets and everything out?
Yeah,
It wasn't that cold, blimey.
Car blanket. That's what they should have had on the merch. Craig, what did you make of the Marillion set?
Yeah, we were talking about it before they come on, what they're going to open with, Invisible Man, Slange. Yeah, we were all wrong. It was You're Gone. So I thought the whole night's up for grabs. Whatever we've spoken about, that's out the window. I think, halfway through the night, I thought this is all about Steve Rothery. Every song was about Steve Rothery, and probably that's why he looked a little bit different. He was doing some heavy lifting all night. It was solo after solo after solo. There was no respite for him. It was all about him. There was the H banter, absolutely, but it was Steve Rothery's night. It was Easter solo, Kaylee solo, Crow the Nightingale. It was so I think he was quite focused because it was all on him.
Yeah.
And he nailed it.
Brilliant.
And I wonder if they had a shorter sound check than you would if it was your own gig.
Well, they sound checked early in the morning because Chris Hobbs was listening to it while he was getting his breakfast. He said, "Yeah, I don't know."
I'm just wondering if that's. Yeah, I think you might be right. He had a big responsibility, and it was on a windy beach, and everything was a bit different to usual. Maybe there was nothing wrong at all. And again, it wasn't a major issue. It's just, if you've been watching them for years, you notice little things like that, don't you?
Yeah. So, Leo, it sounds like you had the best vantage point of all of the people.
Honestly, I was centre front.
So, how was it?
It was fantastic. I mean, I was reflecting before the gig. The last time I saw him in Cornwall was in a cave at Calm Glazed Cabins.
Yeah, I was there.
That was a fantastic gig. And then the only other time, I'm proud to say this, the only time I've ever seen him at a festival before was the 1983 Reading Festival when they played Grendel. They did play that. But that, here I am 40 odd years later. I just didn't know what to expect, and they just blew me away again. I love the Brave medley with Wave and Mad. Afraid of Sunlight is simply one of the best songs I've ever done. That was achingly beautiful. Obviously, the Kaylee Lavender thing was nostalgic. I took a picture of Rothery doing his solo during Kaylee, and I looked at it afterwards. And I thought, you probably played that 1,000,000 times, Steve, and yet it still looked like he was getting joy out of it. He's not bored of playing it. That's what I loved about that. The Crow and the Nightingale was great, and I loved H's. He said after that was good. Not only Beat Combo could knock that out, which I thought that's spot on. I've never heard him announce Man of a Thousand Faces, so I was interested to know that he doesn't know what it's about. King was massive. It was like a bomb going off there. It was just blew everyone away, and they knocked it out of the park, especially Mosley and Trewellers going for it. Netherland was spectacular. with H gliding around the stage like a bird. And it was just brilliant with the music going out across the bay. And of course, the final song was the final section of Care, Angels on Earth. It was almost hymnal. Can I do something a bit personal here?
Yeah.
So Mark Kelly he excelled on an organ, but there's a line in there about he wrapped his arms around me, and for a minute when they were playing that, I was surrounded by thousands of people, and for a minute I wasn't on a beach late at night in Cornwall, surrounded by thousands of people. I was with my dad on his last night of life. He'd had a stroke, he couldn't speak, and he wrapped his arms around me, and that's the magic of music, and that's the magic of Marillion. So
Wow.
I just wanted to mention that.
No.
The other thing I really want to mention, so I hope you didn't mind that. It's been
Of
a bit
course not.
light-hearted,
Of
but
course not. That's where that took you at that point.
exactly,
Yeah.
and that's the magic of music. It can take you out, you can just transfix you, and that's what Marillion can do.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to mention, that I was next to a lady from France called Chantal Rella. I said I'd mention her, and she said she's a surgeon and she plays Marillion music for the patients before their operation. So if I ever have an operation in France, I want Chantal on board. But she also
Is that to anaesthetize them?
Yeah.
Oh, no, sorry.
this thing, and I think we're all obviously massive Marillion fans, but and we've all seen them dozens of times, I'm sure. But she said that was her first ever Marillion gig.
Oh, wow.
She was so excited. And I think if we've been a big fan for a long time, we sometimes forget there are people out there that's their first experience. And we probably need to remember that, because sometimes some frequent fans are almost like they're chatting away because they've seen them a dozen times. So the person next to you, this may be their first time. Respect that. But the other thing she said right at the end, so I asked her, what did you think? She had broken English, better English than my French. I'm going to tell you that for nothing. But I said, what did you think? And she pointed at Steve Rothery. It was in a break between songs. She pointed at Steve Rothery, and in her sort of English, she said, he has such a good touch. I won't try and do an accent. But then she said, he is connected with a force. And then she pointed to the heavens. And I thought, actually, you're right, Chantal. Bloody hell, he was fantastic that night. He really was. They all were, but he was off the scale as usual. So that's me. I absolutely loved it. I love the fact it wasn't part of a tour. It wasn't part of an album launch. It wasn't part of a weekend. It was a one-off performance. They've obviously come out of the studio. It's a break from doing the studio stuff. And they were looser. They were more relaxed. And I think it gave a different atmosphere to the gig. And I loved it. I'm pleased they did it. I like being to the weekends. I've seen them on tour and everything. But there was something a bit special about that one because it was a one-off.
I think it sounds like it was a great gig. And none of you have mentioned, I know that certainly at Port Zealand, they were a little bit rusty in places, certainly on the first night. And none of you mentioned any of that. So
not really.
No, didn't notice, apart from the technical problem with the keyboards. I couldn't. There was no, I think we've all been aware of a couple of times on some of the weekends this year when there's been, looking at each other, or Rother's raising an eyebrow at somebody, in a quizzical manner. None of that. I didn't spot anything that wasn't perfect.
And that's great. They obviously felt relaxed and that they could just enjoy it as best as they could.
And I suppose that's partly because they've had all those weekends as well. We've all said that PZ, we understand it has to be at the beginning, but it is at the beginning, so they are rusty. But, they've had all those weekends and then they've really relaxed at this event because it was much more, informal is not really the right word, but it's a festival. You've got a festival feel to it.
Yeah.
It's absolutely lovely.
And if you look at the set list, I mean, there was nothing there which was, they haven't played quite a lot of times before, I mean, I would have thought that by now they could play Netherland in their sleep or The Great Escape, which is not too, absolutely fantastic, but it's not like, that they were doing a new track which had never played before or something like that,
Craig H, have you got the set list, Craig H?
Yep.
Do you want to read it out?
I have. Yep, go for broke. So, right, they opened with You're Gone, which is a really interesting way of opening, because with the biggest pop song of the last 25 years, but yeah, and then going into Wave and Mad, which I think is a bit of an odd choice for a festival set. But, it's a bit, it's got some energy to it.
Yeah.
And then The Great Escape and Afraid of Sunlight, two of my most favourite tracks of all time. And then Easter, another absolute classic. Kaylee, Lavender, Crow and the Nightingale, The Beautiful, Man of a Thousand Faces, and King. And then the encores were Neverland and Care Part 4, Angels on Earth, which I do think is a set list, is a set list there. You would not be disappointed with that. Yes, it's quite short, but Andy?
Yeah, I've just remembered what Emma said to me after You're Gone, which was that this is quite unrepresentative for anyone that's seeing Marillion for the first time, and You're Gone is, it's a little bit different with the beats and so on. And I remember saying to Emma, I said, well, they could have done something really unrepresentative, like, Wheeled Out Hope for the Future, as the opener.
Mind you, I mean, I
could have wheeled out Gaza.
Which they did a crop.
Yeah.
They did that at Crop Ready way back when, and as epic as it is, and as an important song as it is, at the Crop Ready Festival, it went down like a lead balloon.
Yeah,
I think they got it right. I think they knew what they're doing. They've started off with something that most people can get on board with, and I think that's a good way to get people in.
Door.
Sorry?
It opened the door to the gig for the non-Marillion fans. Yeah.
I heard a few people saying, and this is personal preference, but interesting at a festival, unusual to end with Care. That's personal preference for some people. I thought they would probably end with something like Hayley that everybody could sing along to, but maybe we know Marillion like to be a bit different, which is fine. And there's one thing we haven't talked about, and I think he thought he got away with it. I'm pretty convinced that H fell over, and I think it was during Neverland, was it?
It was. I can confirm he fell. I've got pictures of him rolling.
okay.
You know what? He didn't miss a beat. He carried on singing. He sort of stumbled over. I don't think he was 4 sheets to the wind. I think he just kept spinning around and stumbled over. And then he balletically turned it into a roll, but carried on singing. I was quite impressed with that.
He did. He was I think he was determined to make it look like it was meant to happen, which isn't a bad thing. And I was so impressed because, like you say, if you had your eyes closed, you wouldn't have known from listening to him singing that had happened at all. I was really, and then I thought of his age. I thought if I'd done that, I'd probably be in hospital.
We've seen worse falls, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
But we've
Because
got to
that.
we've got to remember he turns 70 next year, so
Exactly. Yeah.
In good shape.
Yeah. So I had lots of goosebump moments. I know we always do at these things, but it was different. Somehow it was different. The build-up was awesome. The atmosphere, everything about it worked really, really well, and I thought it was beautiful.
Well, there you go. So that's the Friday. How was getting off the site? Was that all straightforward?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have. I think Looe missed a trick where some of the pubs closed down early, so we couldn't actually get in for a post-gig drink, which was a shame. So I think they missed a trick there.
Right.
It was all funneled through one exit. Normally at the end of a festival, you would just open up all the emergency gates and get people pouring out. But we were all going through, and I thought that wasn't the greatest of planning, because it didn't feel. There was quite a few people there. It felt a bit of a squeeze.
We got chucked out. We did our usual staying behind to have a group photo, and then very politely they did ask us to leave pretty quickly. There is a story I'm not going to get into because I don't know the definites and I don't like gossiping, but there's a definite story amongst locals I spoke to and some other people involved in the festival about the town not being very happy about it. I'm not going to say why, because that's up to them. I think I definitely heard officially that some pubs closed as a bit of a boycott. They didn't want anything to do with it, which is terribly sad. And I'm hoping bridges have been built because it was absolutely awesome. And ultimately, like someone said who's organising it, they've just shot themselves in the foot.
Especially because you're coming out of holiday season now. Now you've got a chance of a big boost with thousands of people. But it could also be a thing where the local businesses or some of the local people didn't quite know what kind of crowd that they were going to get. Because I mean, we've told this story on the pod before when we saw Fish up in Haddington at one of the weekends coming out of the corn exchange, and there being riot police across the road. You know, you were never going to get a bother in Haddington at all, ever. You know?
Saturday morning, Craig, we walked down. It's like 10-minute walk from where we were parked, and we basically kept in our van in a pub car park that night. And the pub were really generous, as you can sleep here the night as long as you have a pint in the pub, which we did. But we walked down this hill, which is like that, and we couldn't find anywhere to eat Saturday morning. And this was around about 9:15, and we do like figure of eights all around Looe, and there was nowhere to have a decent breakfast. So we actually got back in the van and pissed off, back out of Looe when we found a cafe. But when you've got a picture of a fry up in your head, that's all you want.
There was a place called Pier 1 next to the Guildhall where Mark Kelly had his get together on the Friday, and that was open from 9.
Okay, we probably missed that.
You missed it. Yeah.
The stuff about the town versus the event. I think someone said it was about communication. Now, whether that's true or not, but actually, had they understood exactly what was going on, they would have been open early, because actually Looe is full of restaurants and cafes. And we did find a pub. There was also the issue of buses. So someone said to me, "You'll get an Uber." I said, "No, I don't think you'll get an Uber." But actually, there were taxis running in the end, but they put on buses especially to go back to places. So there was that issue that people were rushing to make sure they didn't miss the bus. We did find a pub. It was the Copper Fish. I think it's one of the ones where they do distill rum and gin. But it was like walking through a youth club to get in there. And then that did close at midnight. And apparently there were a couple of pubs open later on further out in town, but by then everyone, I think, has had enough anyway.
But I think if it's an experience with running a festival, and that could be just an issue of communication and organisation that way on, especially when you've got all the imponderables. So it's
I think that the beer prices in the festival were as you'd expect. They weren't kicking the arse. And the quality of the drinks was brilliant. And again, the staff really made it. So that part of it really worked.
Yeah.
The variety of drinks, the quality of ale. Yeah, it was really cool.
Hey, you were hobnobbing with a certain bass player that night as well.
That was Saturday night.
Oh, was that Saturday? I beg your pardon.
Yeah, escaping the rain. So on the Saturday, I went down in the afternoon and watched a bit, and then I was feeling a bit sort of tired, so I thought take a little break back to the accommodation, and then come back in the evening to watch the Villagers and Nick Mulvey. We got in there, and I can't remember what they're called. Blaze of a Feather, was it, with the band before?
Yes, yeah.
Who I thought they were really good. They were a local band again. I was really enjoying them, but about halfway through their set, it started blowing in off the sea, and it was wet, and a lot of people skedaddled. So we went and ended up in a couple of pubs to get out of it, and it just carried on raining all through the Villagers set, and you got people coming in the pub after us, and they're absolutely drenched. So I wasn't a die-hard enough fan of Villagers to stay out in that filthy stuff. So we ended up going for a curry around the corner, me and my brother. Nice curry, and my brother said, "Oh, look, in the corner there's Pete." So Pete was sat in the corner, so I nipped over and just said, "Look, I don't want to interrupt you and Fiona, but love your music, great to see you." I mean, I've met him before, but he meets lots of people. I'm sure he wouldn't remember another middle-aged bald Marillion fan. So said hello, finished off a meal. My brother went to pay at the bar, and I was waiting by the door, which was right where Pete and Fiona were. They were in the corner table right by the door, and he sort of like started talking to me, and we had it was about 20 minutes. We were chatting away. It obviously, it's after the main gig. He's relaxed. He's having a nice time, and so generous of him, to talk. One of the things that we were talking about was drummers. Everyone knows how Mosley is important, particularly for the ending of King and Care. And we were talking about, and he was saying, actually, that is just true of drummers generally. They dictate the set. Mosley will look at a set list and say, no, we need to put something else in there. We all know that he likes to have an upbeat, not everything being high art. But he said it's the same with Mike Portnoy like Portnoy.
I was just about to say Portnoy's
Yeah,
much like that.
He said, you know, Portnoy looks at the set list and again dictates, you know, and it's drummers that run the band. He then told a couple of unrepeatable drummer jokes at the same time, which kind of undercut it, but you know, hey ho. But yeah, really, it was, you know, it's really nice when, you know, they give their time like that to a plebby fan.
I had a couple of minutes with Pete on the Friday as well, Andy. I literally turned around and had a pasty, and he was stood there, and I had the Pete Trowowers t-shirt on, saying Pete's the coolest member of the band.
Right.
I was like, I'm wearing your t-shirt. He said, I had nothing to do with that, mate. But it's got the double neck guitar on the front, the coffee table.
Yeah.
And I said, have you brought the coffee table with you? He says, no, not on this occasion. But I was, a couple of minutes with Pete walking along the beach eating a pasta. You thought, this is great. It was worth it just for that moment. And again, he's generous with his time. You're aware people want to talk to him, but he is in the moment, and then you let him go. You think, I've just spoke to Pete Trowowers, who's done all those songs, and it's definitely a pinchy moment.
He's very accommodating, isn't he, Pete? He's lovely. Emma, what can you remember of Saturday then?
Apart from the rain.
I might have woken up at midday. When I was getting ready, it was lovely actually, because I might have mentioned that my cottage was very close to the event.
Oh, you haven't said that. No.
It was a 3-minute walk, you know. But what was lovely is my window was open and I could hear the music. But I was absolutely gutted because, like I said, it was about so much more than just the music for me. So I hadn't really paid much attention. I absolutely loved. I wish I'd seen. I'm not going to get their name right. The Oggy something.
The Oggy Man.
Yeah. The Oggy Men. So I'm off to see Fisherman Friends in Cheltenham soon. So you know, it's not music, my go-to music, but I like it occasionally. But it was so interesting. I was just sat on my bed, and that even though I couldn't hear it properly, it was this massive sound. I use the word rich, this rich sound of harmonies. You know, I could hear the sea as well. And it was such a beautiful moment. I wish I'd been there, but equally, again, it's just that unique, surreal situation of being in your cottage and hearing this amazing music.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I met up with people, someone I hadn't spoken to properly for 20 plus years, hung out with them most of the weekend, and accidentally made an effort to spend time with people I don't know very well. And then it wasn't a great day. And like I said, I was recovering from being ill, so I didn't want to be out in the cold and the rain. I made it down for the Feather, whatever band it was, Andy, you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it, but the wind came in and I thought, it's cold, it's wet. I don't know this music, and actually I'll get no sympathy if I get unwell. So I did just go back to my cottage and whack the heating on. And then found the lads in the pub with a live band a few hours later, which was really good fun. But it felt a bit weird not supporting the festival when we were listening to live music within a pub. I felt a little bit uncomfortable with that, but not enough because I had a great time. We can't control the weather.
You bailed after Saturday, didn't you?
Yeah, I only had accommodation for 2 days. So me and my brother had booked a pub which was open till the midnight actually on the Friday. So we managed to go back and have a drink there Saturday, and then I headed off and walked a bit more of the coast path. So I didn't see anybody Sunday. It's a bit of a shame.
And Craig and Leo, you just did the Friday night, didn't you?
We just went. I watched England win the World Cup against Canada in the rugby. That's it.
Well,
snap.
Not bad. Not a bad day.
So we're relying on Emma for Sunday then.
Yeah, we might have a problem there.
Emma, can you tell me anybody that was on Sunday?
No.
No one.
But
Andy's mentioned somebody that was on Sunday already.
I've told you. Well, like H said, a lot of us are menopausal. We can't remember anything. So what I was determined to do, you know me too well, ex-youth worker, I like to be silly, and I'd been winding people up about buckets and spades, so I actually took a bucket and spade, and funnily enough, out of the 30 people that were left, only about 5 joined me, but we sat on the beach and again caught up with some other friends, but sat literally next to the fence of the music, so we heard the music. whilst playing ball games, and genuinely I was paddling up to my knees in the sea for ages. And if you've seen a video on Facebook, it was actually such a beautiful moment where I was stood in the sea on my own, just listening to the music. It's the person that everybody really wanted to see on Sunday. The man with the guitar.
Newton Faulkner.
That's the one. That's the one.
You could have tunneled back in for that with your bucket and spade going under the fence, and
We dug a tunnel underneath the fence.
Yeah.
So I filmed, me in the sea with the music playing. You could see the stage and sort of like scanned around. It was just such a beautiful moment of calm and peace, which I don't get in my life much. And okay, it's not the normal way to do gigs and festivals, but I don't care that I'm a bit different, because actually what I got out of that weekend was some time out that I desperately needed and some time with friends. And I really had a great time. So apologies, I don't know what music I listened to. I did go back in for the evening. The evening was awesome. It ended up, we were there virtually to the very end. I think we left about 15 minutes before the end, because it is hard work standing all day. It's hard work standing on sand as well, like we said. But no, it was just beautiful.
I don't know the people who headlined on Sunday. So Lucy Rose and Jordan Reiki, are they local acts? Are they?
Jordan Reiki isn't. My son likes her. I think it's no.
Okay, it's probably just my age then.
Yeah. Yes, it's our age, definitely.
Yeah.
There were, I'm just, it's all coming back to me. I wasn't even drinking. It's coming back to me. The last band had massive sunflowers on stage, about 4,000 keyboards, 2 drummers, and I think I counted about 9 of them in the band. A lot of people hated it.
Right.
I didn't love it or hate it. I found it fascinating. So I did stand and watch, because I cannot tell you what genre it was. Definitely younger people were enjoying it a bit more than the older people. But again, I love that. I just love being involved in seeing different musicians doing different things.
Right.
It's an interesting ending.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like we missed a fantastic weekend. So we want to thank you guys for coming on and giving us a flavour of what it was like. Craig Allinson.
Pleasure, guys. Lovely. Cheers
Thank
for
you, Craig.
the
Come back on again and tell us your story about how you got into Marillion, please.
Will do. Love to, John. Thank you.
Thank you to Leo Trimming.
Hi, thank you everyone. I've really enjoyed it. Just a quick plug. There will be a review of this in the progressive aspect, and I've also done reviews of the deluxe sets of Script, Fugazi, Hour Before It's Dark, Faded for the Sunlight, Season's End, and Holidays in Eden. So if you're ever bored, look them up. There you go.
We'll get some links below.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, Leo, and we need to get you back on to discuss an album and tell us about your story with Marillion as well, if that's all right.
I'd love to do that, yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you, mate. And thanks to Andy King.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Andy. Same applies to you. We haven't had your story about how you got into this wonderful music, so we will get you back on to discuss that and lots more besides, if you're up for that.
Sure, I'd love to.
Brilliant. And Emma, thank you very much for remembering what you could.
I don't know why you keep asking me to be on this.
Well, you're on again.
Very much. I love it.
You're coming on again. You're going to talk to you about Fish's Fellini days.
And
I think
just
I know
done
a little
homework.
I think I know a little bit more about that, but
Well,
we never know.
that's
Generally
promising.
thought rubbish.
That's promising, but all that's to come soon. But thank you very much for being on, people. Thank you to my podcast other half, Craig.
I've not had to do much this week. It's been nice and nice.
No, it's been all right, hasn't it? Yeah. All that remains to be said is it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
Take care.
Oh, does somebody want to do it for us?
And stay alive!
Yay!
There you go.
Thanks for listening to Planet Marzipan Podcast. Please like and subscribe from whichever platform you get your podcasts from. You can contact us at planetmarzipanpodcast@gmail.com and check out marillion.com, fishmusic.scot for all the good stuff.
Hello, everybody. I've met some people here down in Cornwall. I think it's their part of the world. And Ali would like to mention something to John Merrick and Craig about Planet Marzipan.
Hello, Barnes. How you doing?
Very well.
Planet Marzipan.
Describe the scene. What can you see around here?
Sunshine, people, pumpkins.
I think it's quite disappointing that John's not showed up again.
Oh, yeah, I'm really amazed he's not here.
I always thought he was a real fan, but it seems not.
No, just a part-timer, really.
Right, I'm bumping into another Scottish guy. This is what's your name, mate?
Good evening, John. My name's Kevin.
All right, Kevin. Have you been a Marillion fan for a long time, Kevin?
No, mate. First gig. First gig, mate. First gig.
Scottish heavy metal band.
First gig.
Right. Anyway, John. Apparently you're missing out. All your mates are here, apart from you and Craig.
Wish Craig was here.
Yeah, I know. It's not good enough. Anyway, see you later, boys. Bye bye.
It's a fax.